Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Happy New Year, Happy Christmas, Happy end of 2021. For those of you who are new here, this is the Year in Review broadcast. I do this once a year because I play quite a lot of games. And I feel the need to give you all a top 10 of the year. So, every year I play a lot of games. So many, in fact, that in 2016 I decided to start doing a top 10 every year. The rules for this are simple. Any game I play during the year has the potential to make the list, provided that it hasn't been, listed previously. This goes for everything from old MS-DOS games all the way up to Halo Infinite, which just launched a couple weeks ago. So, with that all said, let's jump right into it. Number 10 this year is Procession to Calvary. Procession to Calvary smashed its way onto this list with all the subtlety of a brick to the face. I played this on Game Pass not too long ago, and it's an interesting game. It's got an art style of animated classical paintings, a sense of humor that had me dying laughing while I was playing it. And, the game, it's all about a war during a bygone era of knights in armor, and the war has come to an end, and peace spreads across the land. That just won't do for the main character. The main character, frankly, is not done murdering, and was quite happy doing it, as a matter of fact. Now, there's no voice acting in this game, but the writing is massively witty and, shall we say, an interesting take on a handful of classical topics. Visual jokes, hilarious animation, and wacky scenarios that our murder-hungry knight found themselves in were all the perfect mix to land this game at number 10 this year. Well done to Joe Richardson, the man behind this masterpiece. Now, I've always been a fan of games that take the concept of what if you played as X way farther than they had any right to. It can often result in games like our number 9 entry on the list this year. Maneater is a game where you play as a shark. And while it's a bit more complicated than that, that is the basic gist of the game. The game takes the form of a Shark Week-style dramatized TV show following a single shark's path through life, starting just as a baby escaping after its mother is killed by shark hunters, to evolving into a gigantic beast that haunts the coastlines, and then eventually taking revenge on the same shark hunters that started the whole thing. Now, I found myself unable to put this game down once I picked it up. Something about there always being a shark-related objective right around the corner, whether it was terrorizing beachgoers, hunting distinct fish to climb the food chain, or evading state-sponsored shark kill teams trying to take me down. Maneater is a one-of-a-kind experience that is a blast from start to finish, and I'm eagerly awaiting a sequel to this awesome game. Now, speaking of what if you played as X games, number 8 this year has you playing as Cloudy the Cloud as you traverse the world, finding yourself in ever wackier weather-related situations that only you, Cloudy, can solve. Whether it was refilling everyone's coffee with coffee rain in a level that totally isn't The Office, or executing a heist by controlling the winds to steal all the artwork off the walls of the local art exhibition, this game is non-stop laughs and references that I'd easily recommend to anyone and everyone. Now, we should probably move on before this broadcast gets rained on as well, so let's see here. Now, it's a trend that keeps happening every single year that I do one of these, and I swear to you all, it's completely unintentional. Retrace Memories of Death is this year's sad entry. The story begins with our main character and her friends experiencing some sort of supernatural earthquake, which traps them all in a strange place with strange entities that are incredibly hostile. Our main character, Claire, must figure out how to escape this world with all her friends alive, as every time she makes a misstep, someone dies. However, whenever Claire herself dies, time seems to reset, bringing her and all her friends back, allowing them to try escaping again. The storytelling for this one is phenomenal, dealing with personal regret and moving past one's own fears and mistakes, an all-around fantastic experience which lands Retrace Memories of Death securely at number 7 this year. Now, for Halloween this year, I had a special stream where I wanted to play something thematically appropriate, and, what would be more appropriate for Halloween than number 6 this year? Costume Quest is a neat little game that was originally released all the way back in 2010. That's 11 years ago for anyone thinking it was only a couple years ago. It was created by the amazing studio Double Fine. Costume Quest is all about the usual Halloween stuff, trick-or-treating for candy, dressing up with different costumes, defeating a horde of otherworldly goblins who stole your sister, standard October 31st stuff right here. The game plays out like a semi-open world RPG where different costumes allow you to affect the world in different ways and give you different powers and strategies when doing battle against the evil goblins in a turn-based RPG system. This game is one that I've had in my backlog for a very long time, and it's a bit disappointing that I waited this long to play it, but luckily, there is a sequel, so who knows? Halloween 2022, we might see Costume Quest 2. Now for our next entry, I have to admit, I'm not very familiar with the source material. The works that this entry is based off of are always something I've been aware of, but I haven't really had any interest in partaking in. Call of the Sea is an adventure puzzle game that is based loosely on H.P. Lovecraft lore, and specifically the story The Shadow over Innsmouth, or Innsmouth, however you want to pronounce that, wherein the main character of Call of the Sea is on the hunt to discover what happened to her husband and his scouting party while they were on the search for a cure that seemed impossible to find. The main character has an incurable disease, and the game is taking place here on a remote Pacific island. The game is vibrant, as you can see in the gameplay, color everywhere, beautiful and mysterious scenery, and the game, honestly, doesn't let you know what the end surprise is until the very last moment, which is something I can appreciate. All that we know for most of the game is that the main character's husband located what may have been the source of a cure for the illness that has not only plagued the main character for her whole life, but her entire familial line. Whenever a parent dies, the child immediately begins exhibiting symptoms of this strange and incurable illness. As the game progresses, we learn that there is a mysterious ooze on this island that even the locals stay far away from. The ooze appears to have a mind of its own and corrupts all that it comes into contact with, including people, and unfortunately, this usually ends with a very painful death. We learn of different members of the expedition dying off in various ways after being exposed to the island and its hazards, and eventually, everything comes crashing down on our main character, as the realization sets in that her world has changed permanently forever, and she can either embrace the change that her life must take, or fight a losing battle and return home and spend what little time she has left with her loved ones. A mesmerizing story that I highly recommend everyone check out, and a well-deserved entry into this year's top 10. Also, just to answer a quick question in the chat, yes, this is all Cthulhu and Lovecraftian horror and lore. So, you guys know me. I love Tetris. For those of you who were at my E3 party a couple years back, it was announced that this formerly PlayStation exclusive was finally making it over to Xbox, and I lost it. This version of Tetris is without a doubt the prettiest game I have played this year and potentially ever. The graphical displays in this game, the music you play to, the level design, the game modes, everything about this game is phenomenal. There isn't anything outstanding to say about this other than that it is the definitive version of Tetris, which is why it's not our number one, but the fact that there are over 200 different variations of Tetris, to say that you outshined them all completely is nothing short of amazing. Please, 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 I cannot beg you enough. If you play nothing else this year, please play Tetris Effect Connected. Now, number 3 on our list. Number 3 also has blocks like Tetris, but it's probably not in the same way that you're expecting. Minecraft Dungeons is something that, I have to be honest, I was highly skeptical when it was announced, but, having played it now, I can say it's pretty good. I mean, it's number 3 on the list, so I would certainly hope so. Minecraft Dungeons' closest comparison that I can make is that it's the gameplay of Diablo, but with Minecraft instead. The game starts fairly standard, It's Minecraft, you're familiar enough with that, except you're only exploring and getting through levels. Those levels become increasingly more difficult, and as you find better gear, abilities, pets, etc. This all culminates in you and up to 3 other friends teaming up to defeat the Arch-Illager at the end of the game. Except, it does not end there. Higher difficulties exist with even more loot, dozens of new enemies, whole hordes that need to be defeated. There is endless replayability here, folks. And that doesn't include the massive amount of content that has been added to this game after launch that I personally have not even started yet. I really, really cannot recommend this one enough, especially if you've got friends and family to play with. I'm very much looking forward to jumping back into this one alongside Ben and Jen. Number 2 this year. Hang on a sec. I'm going to need a breath. Hang on. Is Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age S Definitive Edition. I find that more and more recently, as the amount of time that I have to dedicate to games shrinks, that I'm usually less willing to give these big, multi-100-hour JRPG games a chance. But I did this one since, it's gotten glowing reviews across the board, and Akira Toriyama of Dragon Ball fame was on the project. Now, the story is your standard fantasy pitch. You are the chosen one, you're a voiceless protagonist, only you have the power to stop the big bad after finding the sacred legendary object that can save the whole world. Surely you've heard this before. But, just because they use the standard fantasy storytelling here does not mean that you should discount the game. In fact, it is everything around the story that not only covers for it, but exceeds it in every way. The characters are fantastic from their design and interactions and behavior. The monsters are fun to fight and have such a variety that you'll hardly ever see the same monster in more than one place. The music is upbeat and fun to listen to while playing. The level design is varied a ton. The combat flows great and doesn't get boring. It's fantastic. I love this game. And I haven't even finished it yet. I've gotten about 60 hours into this game so far, and I am nowhere near finishing everything that this game has to offer. I know games this in-depth can be intimidating to people, but I have to say, you should all give this one a try. It's very friendly to folks who are new to the genre, and it can be challenging to veterans of it at all the same time. Now, before we get to number 1, I always have to mention the absolute worst of the worst that I played this year. And this year, it's a tie. Yes, that's right. 2 separate games managed to duke it out for a draw for the absolute worst pieces of garbage to grace my Xbox this year. The first worst game of the year is Caretaker. Caretaker is a scary game. It's a very quick completion. It's 0 to 1 hours, and I can honestly say I had a tough time stomaching it for even that long. There's not a ton to say about it. You wander around an abandoned facility searching for some random object or escape route while there's a monster chasing you. Folks, this concept has been done to death by now, but I have never seen it done as badly as this. Following an achievement guide, you explore most of the facility, and the caretaker, the monster, doesn't even show up until you're about 5 minutes away from finishing the game, and he doesn't even chase you. There's no threat in this game. There's no horror beyond a mildly creepy atmosphere. This game is like someone who's never even been jump scared before tried to make a game about what they thought scary was. I'm not even going to tell you to not play this game, because you'll look at it on the marketplace, see that it's $8, and say, I could buy lunch for that. The second worst game from this year was also an achievement game. And yes, Canadian football is a thing that's popular enough to not get just one, but a series of video games. This was another quick completion that I had wanted to get done, and I know I'm normally not a sports game guy, but this game played like a kid mashing their action figures together to imitate the Super Bowl. Now, I also own Canadian Football 2018, which I played immediately after 2017, and I have to say, at the very least, the devs figured out how to put the game together better. It's still just a sports game, so it's not my thing, but 2018 was so much better than this one. Okay, we have finally reached the end of the list, and I'm sure that for those of you who have been tuning in regularly over the past year, that this will come of no surprise. Over the last year, from January 2021 all the way to mid-November, 3 times a week, I'd be sitting right here playing Assassin's Creed. All the way from the very first game on the Xbox 360 up to the Wrath of the Druids DLC for Valhalla, there is one in particular that stands out as both one of my new favorites as well as a crowd favorite. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the game of the year here, folks. Playing the entire series in a row has really allowed me to get an accurate comparison of all the Assassin's Creed games this year. And I really have to say, Odyssey should from now on be held up as the standard by which all Assassin's Creed games are compared to. Our journeys across Greece as Alexios were the most enthralling experience this entire year. We fought mythical beasts, we uncovered the ancient city of Atlantis, we found our family members who had been scattered to the winds, and we rebuilt our legacy on top of the defeated cult of Cosmos. While enthusiastically flirting with everyone along the way, of course. This is the first Assassin's Creed game in a very long time where I have wanted to know constantly what happens next. This is the first Assassin's Creed in a very long time to advance the modern-day story in any meaningful way. This is the first Assassin's Creed game in a very long time that I have genuinely cared about, and this is the first Assassin's Creed game ever to be ranked number 1 on the Year in Review Top 10. So there we have it, folks. Another year down, another one to go. I'd like to thank everyone for watching this year, both for this broadcast and for the normal streaming schedule. We've accomplished a lot this year. We hit 1 million gamer score, we got affiliate status here on Twitch, and I have met so many cool people through the whole streaming thing that I do now. I'm very grateful for all the support that I've received thus far from you all, and even those who couldn't make it to tonight's broadcast. I appreciate the help that I've received from both of my wonderful mods, Jally58 and The Kingdom is Lost. You guys are fantastic. And you know what? I'm really looking forward to streaming more in 2022. Looking forward to seeing what happens next. Could be anything. So thank you all for watching. This has been the Year in Review broadcast. Now, last year, I noticed that a lot of you had questions post-broadcast that I did not get to, and I apologize for that. So let's consider this section here, the Q&A section. If you have any questions about the list, or maybe contenders who were up for the pick but didn't make it, then, you know, by all means, please let me know. You guys have been very busy in the chat. Let me see here. A lot of mention of Destiny 2 being Game of the Year. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe next year. Who knows? Question, why did you not list Destiny 2? Destiny 2 did not make it on the list because I did not play Destiny 2 this year at all. Why is Ty not Game of the Year? Where was Ty on the list? Ty, you know, maybe next year again. Who knows? Will you play Fall Guys with me when it comes to Xbox in like 5 years? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Freezem, as long as there are achievements, I will play. Alright, folks. I think we are coming to the end here of this broadcast. I would like to thank you all again for tuning in. I really enjoy doing this broadcast every year, and I thank you all for, you know, tuning in tonight and my usual streaming schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to close. Where is Among Us on the list? Guys, Among Us was on last year's list. I specifically stated that, you know, games that have already made the list can't be featured again. So, Among Us won last year. It was on the top 10. As a matter of fact, I can actually tell you where it was last year. Let me see here. Here we are. Among Us placed number 9 last year, if you remember correctly. Alright. I think we're going to call it there, guys. Thank you all for watching. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to hit me up in the Discord. The recording of this has Twitch exclusivity for the next 24 hours, but after that, it will be going up on YouTube, and the link will be posted everywhere. So, thank you all for watching. Oh, when will you be doing your cooking stream? Probably after the holidays. I've got a lot on my plate right now, no pun intended. So, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all had a decent 2021, and I honestly hope 2022 is much better. So, have a good night, everyone. Peace.